I have been known to say some uncomfortable things from time to time. I mean, I don't know why God puts it on my heart for things for me to say. I don't say them to be controversial. Sometimes I say things and I don't even realize that they're going to be controversial, but they are. But I know this will be controversial. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Keisha King Show. So, listen, we've got some serious things to discuss. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful time with your family. What is coming up, though, is very serious and important. We just obviously got through the election. We know that, thank God, Trump is our president. And let me just say something about this really quick. I really believe, and I feel, let me know if you feel this too. I feel that there has been a serious shift in the atmosphere. I feel like there has literally been something different, a breaking. Obviously, I know that the head of the enemy has not been cut off, but I do believe that he has been pushed back and is wounded. So it is time for us believers to do whatever God is telling us to do in this time right now in the earth, because we've been given grace, and once this is over, it's going to be kind of crazy. I have been known to say some uncomfortable things from time to time. I mean, I don't know why God puts it on my heart for things for me to say. I don't say them to be controversial. Sometimes I say things and I don't even realize that they're going to be controversial, but they are. But I know this will be controversial. I think we have to abolish the Civil Rights Act. I do. So here's why I say this. Now you can go ahead and think that that's crazy. I'm sure it sounds crazy. Um, but I think once I lay out my reasons, you may have a different thought. You might agree with me. So we have the a big case that is coming before the United States Supreme Court. That case is the case of transgender. Should uh, parents be able to transition their children? I don't even believe, let me just first say, I do not believe that your you can transition your child to be something else. That's just like saying it is about as absurd as me saying that I can transition myself into being a dog. I can't become another species. You cannot make a girl a boy, and you cannot make a boy a girl. Uh, Sex or gender is not a social construct. It is fixed, it is firm. We know this from the Bible, but we don't even have to go to the Bible. If you want to go that route, we can go to our blood. The Bible says, again, the life is in the blood, but scientists know that the life is in the blood. They can tell by your blood what you are. Okay. So it doesn't matter. It's not a social construct. They can tell by your bones. You laying in a grave, they can tell by your bones if you were a man or a woman. Okay. So this whole idea is foolishness. It is brought on by the enemy, by Satan, to confuse children, to break families, and to kill, steal, and destroy. It is utterly, it's a disaster. But there are people, of course, who think that this is the right thing to do all of a sudden. So, Representative Nancy Mace, who is from, where is she from? South Carolina. Is she from South Carolina? She's from South Carolina. So, she put forth a resolution. She introduced a resolution to say that biological men need to go in the men's bathroom, and biological women need to be in the women's bathroom in Congress. And this opened up a big can of worms, because on one hand you have all of these people who are saying, oh, they should be able to use any bathroom that they identify with, and they can just come in and into your sports, into the girls sports, and they can pretty much do whatever men can do whatever girls do and be in their spaces. As a woman, I am completely against this. As a mother, I am completely against this. And as a sane person, I'm completely against this, because when you start to introduce stuff like this and start trying to alter the things that are fixed in society, God has not in society, fixed in the universe. Okay? God has fixed the world in a way that is pleasing to him. When he made it, he said it's good. When you try to rejigger those things, I've been talking about this lately. When you try to, like, it's like Jenga, okay? When you try to start pulling out pieces of God's design to try to make up your own stuff and try to be your own God and do all, you're going to make the whole thing is going to collapse. First of all, it ain't even going to work. Okay? I don't care what you cut off or what you slap on. Boys will never be girls. Girls will never be boys. You can put on a wig, you can put on lipstick, you can go buy you some breast, you can go and get one of these um get a hole put in you. I don't whatever that is, not a vagina. I don't know what I mean, whatever that thing is that they do. You can do all that and you will never be a girl. What will be helpful for these people is to help them love the body that they're in, not try to convince them that they need to be something else. Like, this is a new thing. Like, it would be just like me saying to a person who is struggling with anorexia to say, oh no, somebody who is 5'1", uh a 20-year-old who's 5'1", who is 75 pounds. Oh no, girl, you look great just like that. I can see your rib cage. Chef's kiss. I'm looking at you. You're emaciated. You are suffering from all kinds of diseases. Your body is starting to have complications. And I'm like, keep going. I'm affirming you. Just how heartless and cruel that would be. That's the same thing as this transgender. In fact, I think it's a perversion that these men have who want and like to dress up in women's clothing. I think it's some kind of perversion. I don't think all of them actually have gender dysphoria. I think many of them it is some type of sexual perversion, something that they get off on, with being able to claim this thing and then now trying to force it on other people. So Nancy Mace, this rep from South Carolina, she introduces this resolution and says, I don't want men in the bathroom with me. I don't know any woman who wants to be out in public and wants a man in the bathroom with her. I just don't know. I really don't. I mean, shoot, truth be told, as a woman, we don't even want our husbands in the bathroom when we're doing certain things. I mean, okay, let's just keep it all the way a stack. We don't. I mean, because it's your personal space. It is your personal space. Um, so she brings this forward, and here comes this newly elected transgender, this man who calls himself a transgender, um is wanting to insist that he goes into the bathroom with women. It's crazy.
I think we are all united that attempts to attack a vulnerable community are not only mean-spirited, but really an attempt to misdirect. Because every single time we hear the incoming administration or Republicans in Congress talk about any vulnerable group in this country, we have to be clear that it is an attempt to distract. It is an attempt to distract from what they are actually doing. Every single time we hear them say the word trans, look what they're doing with their right hand. Look at what they're doing to pick the pocket of American workers, to fleece seniors by privatizing Social Security and Medicare. Look what they're doing, undermining workers. And here's also what we have to be clear about, because I think the last week has been a prime example of this. Every bit of time and energy that is used to divert the attention of the federal government to go after trans people is time and energy that is not focused on addressing the cost of living for our constituents.
Okay, first of all, nobody would be caring about what you're doing, and we could actually focus on other issues if you weren't trying to insist and persist to come into our private spaces. It's not like we're saying we don't want to walk on the same sidewalk as you. Remember how Democrats, how y'all used to do back in the day? You know what y'all used to do back in the day? We're not doing that. No, we're saying you can't come into the bathroom, a private space, with women if you're not a woman. Now, why don't we want that? A, because we know that there are people who are going to be nefarious with this and possibly try to harm women, sexually harm us, peering at us, looking at us, doing all kinds of disgusting things. And those who have a perversion with this thing, they will literally be walking in these places, because it's already happened before. Talk to Riley Gaines. Remember Leah Thomas, Will Thomas, that big old 6-something-foot man who got to swim on the swim team? He would be walking in there with an erection because these people are sick. Okay. So it's not just about, oh, I just want to use the bathroom. Why can't I use the bathroom? You can. You honestly can. You and your private parts can go right into the bathroom that you've been using for all the years that previously. Okay. You cannot put your problems on the rest of society. You cannot do that. We don't exist just to sit here and make your life comfortable while you make the rest of us scared, miserable, chaotic. No, we're not doing that. We are not. So this issue is finally going to the United States Supreme Court. So I want to read to you what is happening. For those of us holding our breath for the past several months, we can exhale. Work can finally be done on the major issues this country is facing. One of the most significant being our national debt. The fact is, our nation is broke, and that debt is a house of cards that can't quickly be dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. Diversify your savings. That's why buying gold from Birch Gold Group is a must. So many things are out of our control, out of our president's control. So it's important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group will help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Text KING, KING, to 989898 and get your free info kit. Plus, right now through Black Friday, you'll receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text KING, KING, to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. So let's read the case that is going before the Supreme Court. So it says Supreme Court's transgender care fight creates conservative reckoning over parental rights. Now, this is from CNN, so this should be interesting. Conservative groups have for years sought to reduce the government's sway over parents' child rearing choices, particularly when it comes to decisions about school and health care. But the Supreme Court's upcoming and potentially explosive transgender care case is dividing conservatives, with many of those same groups backing Tennessee's ban on puberty blockers and hormone treatments, which critics say injects the state into family medical decisions and overrides parental rights. As a result, some notable conservatives are supporting the Biden administration's challenge of that law. Quote, since when does a conservative say the state knows what is best for my child? Said former Virginia Rep. Barbara Comstock. Okay, so this is a former rep, an anti Trump Republican who opposes Tennessee's law. If you decide a state can do this, then it puts all parental decisions at risk of being overruled by the government. The Supreme Court will hear arguments December 4th in the most important transgender rights case the justices have ever tackled. Reviewing a Tennessee law enacted last year, the bans that bans gender affirming care that bans gender affirming care for minors and imposes civil penalties for doctors who violate the prohibitions. Gender affirming surgeries are not at issue because a lower court tossed out a challenge to those procedures, though the High Court declined to consider the parental rights question when it took the case earlier this year. The debate is nevertheless playing out in briefings and may come up during the court's oral arguments. The Biden administration appeal has landed on the court's docket at a moment when transgender rights have become a roiling culture war issue for Republicans, with President-elect Donald Trump denouncing, quote, transgender craziness, and South Carolina Rep. Nancy Mace attempting to ban transgender women from using women's bathrooms at the U.S. Capitol and other federal buildings. Tennessee and many conservatives who support the state's position argues parental rights aren't a factor in the case. After all, they say states have a long history of regulating medicine for people of all ages. Quote, even adults lack a substantive due process right to demand access to a particular medication, the state told the Supreme Court. The lack of a right to certain drugs, the state claims, dooms the Biden administration's appeal. Put up or shut up moment. Conservative groups have lined up in federal courts to make nearly identical parental rights arguments in other cases. In one appeal that has been pending at the Supreme Court for months, a group of Wisconsin parents say their school district is violating parental rights by hiding transgender support plans, allowing students to change their pronouns and bathroom use without informing parents. Anti-abortion groups, meanwhile, have for years argued that parents must have a say in a minor's decision to end a pregnancy. 26 GOP-led states, including Tennessee, have enacted bans on at least some form of gender-affirming care. But a few Republicans are bucking their party by focusing on the question of whether parents have a right grounded in the 14th Amendment to direct the medical care of their children. It is a bit of a reckoning for the Republican Party, said Alex Landry, who worked on Mitt Romney's 2012 presidential campaign and who signed a brief in the Tennessee case, along with dozens of current and former GOP elected officials and aides opposing state law. You certainly have a lot of people on the right calling for more parental rights, particularly in the realm of education, blah, blah, blah. It's ideologically charged. The brief, which is intended to appeal to the conservative justices focused on history, is signed by Stephen, a conservative, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Though it took the Biden administration's appeal over Tennessee's law, the Supreme Court did not grant a separate appeal for the transgender youth and families affected by the ban. It's not clear why the court granted the Biden administration appeal, but not the similar case from their families. But one effect of that decision is that parental rights won't squarely be at issue when the justices take the bench on Wednesday. In allowing the Tennessee ban to take effect last year, a divided six U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals brushed aside the parental rights argument. Parents usually, quote, do know what's best for their children, but it added, becoming a parent does not create a right to reject democratically enacted laws. In quote, Melissa Moschella, professor of the practice in philosophy, it's okay. So this is, the case is around whether parents have a right grounded in the 14th Amendment. What is the 14th Amendment? The Civil Rights Act. So ultimately, this case is about, should parents be able to allow their minor children to get these puberty blockers? These puberty blockers which they can prevent you from having children. If you are young and you are going through something, you can change your mind. You can have, that's why they didn't even want me to get, my doctor did not even want me to get my tubes tied at 26. You know why? Because she was like, Keisha, you might change your mind. I was like, no, I'm not. I ain't gonna change my mind. Please tie them. She would not tie my tubes because she was like, I think it is best because you might change your mind and then you're gonna have to go through all of this other stuff because people change their minds. You think you want something in the moment and then you turn around, you be like, you know what, I don't want that. Or you think something is good for you at the moment, then you turn around, you say, you know what, that's not good for me. But they want these children to go through these permanent, non-reversible puberty blockers. And the other side is saying, well, it's discrimination. It is medical discrimination. That's why they're bringing up the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, which is the civil rights, says you can't discriminate on sex, gender, sexual orientation. It has evolved into all of these other things. That is why I say we need to get rid of the Civil Rights Act because I don't think that it is necessary. And no, I don't think if we got rid of the Civil Rights Act, then all of a sudden we would see signs of whites only and this and that. I really don't think that that's what would happen in America. But if some businesses wanted to do that, okay, whatever. Let people live as freely as they can in a society where we can get along because this trans stuff, the critical race theory stuff, all of the DEI stuff, it is tearing our country apart. These kids are being mutilated at such young ages and they're not even happy. They still deal with the suicide, the mental health issues. They still if you look at the data, it's not good for the children. I don't even understand why America is. We should be leading the world and getting rid of this stuff. Instead, we're one of the ones hanging on, and we got to go through the Supreme Court. We don't even know what a woman is anymore. One of our own Supreme Court justices cannot even define what a woman is. So that just goes to show you how far and how low we have gotten as the United States of America. But in speaking about our health, let's talk to Dr. Joel, who is the founder of Sweetamine. He has some really good things that you need to be aware of when you're thinking about your health. So he is going to join us. So thank you, Dr. Joel, for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Joel. Hey, Dr. Joel. Thanks so much for coming back to visit with us. How are you?
I'm just fine. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us more about this wonderful product here, Sweetamine, and
Well,
what made you come up with it and
well,
how.
Sweetamine is, first of all, what it is it basically a supplement of the amino acid glycine. And in fact, I just wrote a book about it, and it's just available on Amazon. That's called The Glycine Miracle,
Mm,
uh, the science of living long and free from inflammation. So that's what it does. And I came up with it about, about 14 years ago.
wow.
Uh, I was doing research on amino acids and also testing them on myself. That is to say, once I realized that glycine, which had been thought to be a non-essential amino acid, doesn't really seem to be non-essential. Um, I had been taking about 10 grams a day. These are amino acids are bulk nutrients. It's not like a vitamin that you need micrograms or milligrams a day. It's a bulk nutrient. You need grams a day, and the typical diet only gives you 2 or 3, and you need about 10. So my product, Sweetamine, gives you the other 8. And what it does is it makes your immune system actually function normally. That is to say, we usually think, and just about all of medical science still thinks, that inflammation is a natural response to injury. And isn't. That's what I found out with self-experimentation, realizing that with blunt injury or sunburn, I didn't get any inflammation when I was taking a supplement of or of a sweet amino
Yeah.
of the amino acid glycine. And did some research on laboratory animals and found that they lived longer, rats and mice, if they were given supplements of glycine. And we know why just from the amino acid biochemistry of it. And that's because, unlike our forebears, who used to eat meat rarely, and when they got meat, they would have the whole animal. They used to throw the bones into the soup and not in the trash. Nowadays, lots and lots of muscle meats. We tend to throw the bones in the trash, and
Sure.
that's where the collagen is. And the collagen is where the glycine is. So the American diet, the typical American diet, has become very poor
Yeah.
of glycine. And so we have more, instead of having, with advanced technology and medical science, instead of having fewer chronic diseases, arthritis, diabetes, cancer, all of that stuff, instead of having fewer of these things, more and more people are getting them at younger and younger ages.
Mm.
Uh, that's that's really largely a function of not having enough glycine. Why? Because it's funny, because glycine, as I say, was thought to be non-essential because your body makes it, and your
Yeah.
body makes enough of it as a building block of proteins to make all the proteins you need to make.
Yeah.
Glycine has another function in the body that's needed in much higher concentration to keep your immune system behaving itself and not causing inflammation when there isn't an infection around, because it's really only an appropriate response to infection. So once I discovered this, I decided to make a product because, I mean, I'm not a businessman, really. I mean, I guess I am.
You are now.
I never wanted to be a businessman. I started a company when I was 60 years old, as I
Mm.
said, 14 years ago. And the reason is because if I just stayed a professor and a scientist, publishing papers in, specialized journals and arguing with academics for years or decades, it might be decades before the world ever found out about it and before everyone
True.
had the advantage of being able to put this knowledge to use. So the best way to get the knowledge out there is to create something that people can actually try, that people can
Mm.
use.
You
So
know,
I decided to get the product done. Yeah.
yeah, and we're grateful for it because with all of the information that's coming out, like in the healthcare world, we see um, so many things now where it doesn't seem like they have our best interest, the American people's best interest at the top of their mind when they are researching, or I'll put it researching, because now we're finding out that the researchers are colluding with the people that they're supposed to be independent from, and it's just one big old mess. So we
Yeah.
need more people, more independent people to come out with products and things like this to help us with our everyday living,
Right.
because I just don't think we can trust the those who have been charged with this task. It has not benefited us. Americans are more overweight than we've ever been, just sicker in general than we've ever been.
That's true.
And so with discoveries like sweetamine and what glycine can do, I mean, it's just proving to be extremely beneficial.
Right. And it's what's nice is that, for everything, the mentality, it's not that people aren't so well meaning. I mean, you're very diplomatic in your description of where American healthcare and pharmaceutical industry is now. But I mean, that's why we've got RFK Jr. in there now. We'll see what goes on, right? But
Right.
that should be a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But yes, there is so much bias, and a lot of the bias is really just, I think it's an unconscious bias when you read the literature, and having just written the book, in order to write a book, you got to immerse yourself in the library and get current and read everything that's been published about it in a long time, so you really get your knowledge current.
Yeah.
But one of the things I observed is that even among the best researchers, there is an unconscious bias towards thinking of everything like a drug. Even researchers who have found, they say, wow, it's, you give people glycine and it really helps lowering the indicators of heart disease, for example. That's a study that was just done on obese children at the Mayo Clinic. So it does get out there in the literature, and so but it's amazing. This could be used as therapy, or we found that glycine is great at preventing septic shock. And now we're going to look and see if we can't find some drugs that work even better. So it's all like glycine. Wow, what a great drug! And maybe we can find even better drugs. And it's everybody's looking for a drug. This is just the mentality.
Yeah.
And saying that let's look for a drug which can actually extend lifespan, because now we found out that glycine extends the lifespan of rats and it can extend the lifespan of mice. This is found out in some of my own research in collaboration with the NIH. And I said, I think we're looking at it the wrong way. If we're talking about the normal lifespan of these laboratory animals or whatever we're studying, and we get a longer than normal lifespan by supplementing their diet with glycine, why don't we say that the natural lifespan is as long as we can get? So maybe the lifespan in the normal animal, the control animal, is not really a healthy lifespan. Maybe it would be healthier if it had enough glycine. So in other words, maybe we're really just deficient in this key nutrient, and all of these illnesses that may follow from this deficiency are really deficiency diseases. So when you take vitamin C so you don't get scurvy anymore, or vitamin B1 so you don't get pellagra anymore, or you take vitamin D so you don't get rickets anymore, you're not calling these things drugs. They're nutrients which are correcting a deficiency, and that's why you don't get the deficiency disease. So this is the way that I have been thinking about these things, and it opens up a whole new way of looking at it and thinking about it, and that was really the great change. The thing that woke me up about it was that I experimented on myself for a couple of years, taking 10 grams a day of glycine, because my research had led me, and the research of others had led me to the idea that this was going to be a good thing, and at the very least, it's going to be harmless. Which it was. So it was, I think I started this in 2007 or 2008 formally, and it wasn't for a couple of years that all of a sudden I noticed very dramatic differences in what? I had to fall 4 feet onto a concrete floor onto my tailbone. Well, it hurt like hell, but somehow I managed to go dancing that night with my wife. And the next day I was fine, except for a big bruise. And then I was at a ball game sitting for a couple of hours in an unobstructed sun around the solstice, in the middle of June. And all of a sudden I realized I had a sunburn like I hadn't had since I was at least in my 20s. And when I went into the shade, it just started to fade. And, and realizing, also having a background in some graduate training in immunology and some work in the dermatology department at NYU, where I got my graduate degree, I put two and two together and realized that, all the sun damage from sunburn is not from the sunburn, because it just makes your skin red. Why does it get worse after that? Why doesn't it just go back to normal? Well, guess what? If you have enough glycine in your system, it does. And this was a startling discovery, because I was sure that I was going to be in great pain, dressing, undressing, bathing, for the next couple of days after getting this burn, and it just faded away. So once I realized, all of this, how safe it was, how effective it was, how much pain and suffering it could save so many people. The best way to actually get it out there is to make a product. And thousands of people have enjoyed the benefits. Not millions yet, but hopefully it'll get there.
This is so important, especially right now, and I do believe that there, we are inspired to do different things, like create different products and stuff like that, especially when it comes at the right time. I really feel like this is something that is needed all over the country, all over the world, probably, at the right time, because our health is so
Right.
We're inundated with all of this, information, and then, few years later, we're told that, oh, sorry, that information that we gave you, that's actually not true. Stop taking it, or it will
Right. Well,
begin
there's
to harm
yes, and
it.
yeah, and these days medical science has finally come around to the view that all of these chronic diseases are the result of chronic inflammation, but they don't
Mm,
know why. Why is inflammation happen? But it's not self-limiting. And now glycine is sort of coming in there because they're saying, hey, these collagen supplements are really good. You need these amino acids that make collagen. Well, it's
yeah.
mostly glycine, and it's because of the inflammation. Or magnesium, the great new supplement. Everybody's deficient in magnesium. You got to have
Mm,
magnesium. So take the most organic, absorbable form of magnesium. Get
yeah.
quinol, magnesium glycinate. Okay, yeah, nice absorbable form of magnesium. But that 300 milligram 2-tablet daily dose of magnesium actually gives you 2,000 milligrams, 2 grams
Mm,
of glycine. So they're even selling glycine supplements and they're having beneficial effects.
mm,
They still haven't put it quite together. And I think
wow.
one of the other problems is that science has become, has really kind of devolved. It's
Mm,
not really what science used to be. For
correct.
example, now you see in the literature, as I was talking about before, you see the attitudes of scientific researchers. They say, well, it's amazing how glycine seems to help in this condition and that condition. This may be hard to believe. Well, why is it hard to believe? They say, oh well, because these conditions are all so complex, and we need complex treatments. We need personalized treatments. We need one treatment for psoriatic
Mm,
arthritis, and another treatment for Crohn's disease, and another, and they're all inflammation related, and they all
right.
target aspects of inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
But then they believe, oh, it's complex. It's
Right.
a complex problem showing up in complex ways, and we need to treat it with complex. No, science is about the simple. It's
Mm,
about finding the simple answer, the common denominator.
mm,
So the idea that just because something manifests in complex ways, that the causes must be complex is actually an
mm.
anti-scientific idea.
Wow.
Common sense, which everybody kind of is a scientist. People experiment with things all the time. It's a very
Hmm.
natural thing to be a
Yeah,
scientist, really.
absolutely.
And people experiment on themselves. Well, let me try this. Oh, that didn't help. Well, let me try. Well, and then you compare it to what somebody else said, and
Yeah,
then you have the medical industry. Take this jab, and then things
seriously.
don't work out so well. So,
Yeah.
but it's so there's a lot of well-meaning people in
Mhm.
science, but they've kind of forgotten, the basics of science, which is
True.
find simple. What is the simple answer? There should be something simple. Why are all of these terrible things happening at such a greater extent? And they're
Yeah.
getting there. I think they're
Yeah.
getting there. I hope and pray that we're getting there, because
I hope and pray it.
I
Pray.
don't need to corner the market on it. I just want there to be a market so that everybody
Yeah.
realizes, yeah, this is what you need, and
Yeah.
let's get the job done.
Yeah. I mean, your heart is in the right place with this, truly. So go ahead and tell everybody where they can get
Okay.
them a box of Sweetamine and the special that you have for viewers.
Okay, well, I got two specials. One for viewer. One of them is for your viewers, and that is with the promo code King, right?
Yes. Promo
Like
code
Keisha
King.
King, actually. Just with the promo code King, you can
King.
get $5 off your first purchase. If you
Yes.
want to just try it, you get a 12-day challenge. It's normally $19.95. With the
Mm-hmm.
promo code King, King, it's only $14.95, and it's risk-free anyhow. If for any reason you don't like it, you want your money back, just call us, email us, and you'll get your money back.
Yes.
The whole idea is to make it risk-free. So some of you might say, why don't you make it free? Well, if we make it free, you know what? Ironically, when you make things free, people don't even try it. Oh, yeah, I'll take 12 of these. But then they'll sit on your shelf because you don't value what you don't have a little skin in the game for.
There you
So
go.
put up the
You're
money,
absolutely
put up
correct.
the $14.95. You get it back if you don't like the product, but try
Mm-hmm.
it. We want
Yeah.
you to try it. You should feel the difference in a few days. And then you can try going off it, and then try going on again, and then
Yeah.
convince
Do your
yourself.
own experiment. Do your
Yes,
own, like,
exactly.
check. Yeah.
Experiment.
You know,
Of course,
we here, you know, we promote that. We want people to, you know, test something and see, you know, that way you do have skin in the game, and that way you can know what works good for your
right.
body. I mean, as time goes on and as we, you know, have fewer and fewer people that we can trust, we have to start testing ourselves with those things that we can, and we can do that with Sweetamine, and it
Right now,
provides
so it's
so many great
sweetamine.com.
things
I'm
for your
sorry, I
body.
didn't interrupt. So sweetamine.com.
Yes.
And then if you use and then you can buy whatever size you want. But I had one other announcement that I was hinting
Oh,
at as well.
yes. Please share.
The book is now available on Amazon, and starting
Awesome.
tomorrow, you'll see a link to the page on our website. But also, we're starting a week before Black Friday. We're starting our end of year holiday sale, which is a sale on 6-packs and full cases of like 15 boxes. I don't think you're ready for that if you haven't tried it, but try it if you like it. The sale goes to
Try
the end
it.
of the year.
I've tried it.
And
I use it. Try
right,
it. And
well,
I will put the links for your book. I'll put that all in the description
right.
box
So you're starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow,
starting tomorrow. Yeah.
it's a free book. Will be included with the 6-pack. If you buy at least a 6-pack, you get the book for free. That's a $16.95 value. That's what they say, but we know it's worth a whole lot more than that, really.
Absolutely.
And it's current, it's authoritative, it's fully referenced, but it's readable. I mean,
Yes.
my career in teaching has largely been teaching introductory human biology to non-science majors. So there
Yes.
are, hopefully you'll find it very understandable, but if you want all the details are there, the references are there, so you can
Yes.
not only read it and try it, but you can show it to your doctor. And this doctor, oh, I've never
Absolutely.
heard of it. Well, here's the book. It's
Right.
less than 200 pages, and it's easily readable. And if they're really interested in your health and their other patients' health, they'll give it a read also.
They
And
should give it a read. And so that is November 22nd that the book will be available.
starting, yeah,
Just
tomorrow is what's today? Wednesday? I think Friday. So November 20.
Friday. Okay.
Yes, right. Friday the 22nd. It will be available for free with a purchase of 6 boxes of Sweetener. You can get the book now if you want, but and you can also, you want to order your 12-day challenge for only
Yes.
$14.95 with the promo
Yes.
code King.
Yes.
And then if you like it, you'll be able to order more, get a free book, sweetamine.com, and everything will be explained there. So
Yes.
I
Well,
invite you.
thank you so much, Dr. Dole, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Come back anytime to tell
All
us
right.
more about your developments.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you guys too. Let us know how you are enjoying Sweetamine. Please, you can comment in the comment section below, or you can just email me. And you can get up that all in the description box below. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
Keisha.
time. Thank
Great
you.
pleasure. Thank you. And have a great Thanksgiving holiday too.
You as well. Again, the Civil Rights Act is what all of these crazy new culture war disputes are hanging on, because they are based on things that have become a social construct. So race in itself, race is actually a social construct. Pointing out somebody because they have more melanin or less melanin, that's a social thing. We did not, you know, God did not create that. That is not something that is something that has to be taught to you. Oh, this person, you know, because they have a more melanin, they are black, or called black, because we're not actually black. I mean, my hair is black and look at my skin. I'm not black. Okay. So this whole thing, it's a social construct. It makes you try to believe something that's not actually true. They want, just like you would call me a black woman even though my skin is brown. They want you to look at a man and say, who calls himself trans, and say, oh, but that's a woman, even though we know you a man. It's the same thing. This whole thing is this whole civil rights, the whole thing is built on a lie, honestly. Martin Luther King and his foolishness, and say whatever you want about me, say whatever, go and look up what he actually believed. He was not a Christian, he did not believe in the resurrection, he did not. Anyway, that whole thing was a lie, and the fruit that it bared, the Civil Rights Act, is sinking sand. Let people, if somebody doesn't want you in their business, oh well. What has the Civil Rights Act actually, how has it really benefited Black people anyway? We had our own doctor's offices, schools, businesses. Black people were getting along in America. There are more Black people being killed today by other Black people than Black people getting killed back in the day by white people. Now, make that, since the Civil Rights Act is just something we just got to have and we just can't let go of, why are Black people doing worse as far as what this bill was supposed to do? Explain that one to me. I know this is a hard thing to hear. It's hard. Well, it's not hard for me to say anymore. But when I was first having these thoughts, like all of this DEI stuff, all of this, the critical race theory, the DEI, the gender stuff, all of this stuff hinges. What are they going to? All of these things hinge on the Civil Rights Act. They do. I have to give you another word from our sponsor. So, when is the last time a pharmaceutical company truly had your best interest at heart? If you're tired of the big brands selling you chemicals and promises that fall short, we at God Stuff Beauty, we hear you. Gold Lush from God Stuff is different. Made right here in the United States of America, our all-natural facial oil cleanser is packed with ingredients that you can trust. No secrets, no fillers, just nature doing what it does best. Americans are waking up to the harm that big pharma has done to what we put in our bodies. It's time to wake up and reject what they tell you to put on your bodies too. So leave the lab made junk behind and let your skin glow with Gold Lush. Smooth, clean, moisturized skin that feels alive. It is great for if you're pregnant, you don't have to worry about those nasty chemicals leaking into your bloodstream or anything like that. It is great for men, for women, dry skin, oily skin, whatever your skin issues are. I truly believe that Gold Lush will be a blessing to you and your entire family. So go and get you some Gold Lush. You can go to godstuffbeauty.com for all of our, just to wrap this up, let me play this for you.
As Democrats conducted their after-election analysis, some think the party's position on issues like transgender rights contributed to the loss. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins joins us with more from Capitol Hill.
While Donald Trump prepares to move back into the White House, Democrats pointing fingers at each other over what went wrong.
We've got to be able to have these debates, but instead we have a wing of our party that shames us, that tries to cancel people who even bring up these difficult topics.
Massachusetts Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton arguing the party swung so far left on transgender rights, they lost step with the majority of voters. I have 2 little girls, Moulton told the New York Times. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete, but as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. The comments met with calls for Moulton to resign. One of his top aides quit.
The point is that the backlash I've received proves my point that we can't even have these discussions as a party. I mean, the chairman of the Massachusetts Democratic Party wouldn't even return my phone call.
Associated Press exit polling shows a majority of voters say support for transgender rights in government and society have gone too far. One of Donald Trump's most potent ads attacks Harris's stance on the issue.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Analysis by a Harris super PAC, Future Forward, finding after voters watched this ad, support for Trump increased by 2.7 percentage points.
Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
The Trump campaign spending millions to run the ad over and over in the final days of the election. Newly elected Representative Sarah McBride, the first transgender woman to serve in Congress, responding to the issue Monday.
We were seeing these ads, and despite all of that, we won our race. I believe that the American people are still having a conversation about trans identities, about trans people, and we need to extend grace.
Congressman Moulton isn't the only Democrat saying his party misread voters this year, with many others arguing the party is also out of step on issues like the southern border and the economy. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Bottom line is Americans don't want this. The trans issue, when the polling was done, the trans issue for swing state voters and independents, it was the number one thing that made them vote for Trump, because women do not want this. You have got to be out of your mind to think that women want men just coming in the bathroom with you, with us, or being in our girls' sports. Why don't we see a bunch of girls going into the boys' bathroom or girls going into a bunch of men's sports? We don't see that. We don't see it because women don't have this weird inclination. We know our physical strength. We know intuitively that a man is going to be stronger than us. Like we just know these things, and men know that they are stronger than women. They know that. But they have the upper hand, so they don't have a problem just coming in your bathroom. It's crazy. It is absolutely insane. It is crazy to me that we even have to have these kinds of talks, but that is where we are in the United States today. Let me know what you guys think about what I think in the comment section below. I am curious to know what you think about this transgender situation, and more importantly, what do you think about abolishing the Civil Rights Act? I know it's a bold thing to say, but I say it with my full chest. I do. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.